everybody. It's Danny Draven, director of Halloween Night Meet the Ouijas, and I am here with the amazing effects artist Tom Devlin, and we are at Tom Devlin's shop here in beautiful Boulder City, Nevada. We're going to show you the creatures which we call the Ouijas. And these creatures come out of something called a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Tom, what do we got now?
So I'm gonna. We've been working around the clock on these little guys, and we're getting there. I'm gonna pull out a Ouija out of the mold that hasn't been opened yet. Hopefully it comes out good. Every time that they don't come out good, that's just more work for us and the guys here. So we'll pull it out. Hopefully it comes out good, and then we'll show you motor breath for the first time.
What are they actually made out of, though?
So these are, we opted to go in a very Ghoulies direction with this movie, and that's public knowledge, right? And oh look, I'm wearing the shirt.
See that, and see that, you, the Lost Boys. Tom and I are big '80s horror fans.
But as far as these Ghoulies go, they were created by an effects artist named John Carl Beekler, who was known for using latex and polyfoam, and actually, like that's a thing. So we have gone ahead and made all the Ouijas out of latex and polyfoam in his honor. There will be a couple foam elements and different parts depending on the character, but these guys mostly are polyfoam and latex. So what I've done is I've casted up all the latex, and then we've poured the polyfoam. We let it cure overnight, and we're gonna pop this one open and have no idea how this is gonna go. It could be disastrous, or it could be great.
You want to pop him open right now?
That's what we're gonna do.
All right, we're gonna pop out a Ouija from a mold.
Here's a mold. It's already been run several times, so it's feeling its wear, and we're gonna see if we can get a couple more. These are our handy dandy mold pliers. And let's see. So like I said,
and this is the first time I've actually seen any of this stuff, because I haven't visited in a while.
Honestly, we don't usually show off this part of the process, because this is when things could go terribly bad. So far, he's full. No big air pockets. That's a good thing. Mold held up. That's a great thing. We'll be able to get them. So inside these guys, I'll pop him out and then I'll show you. There's a rigid tube right here, and that gives us the area we're going to need to put our arm in it. So let's get his.
He's being born. A Ouija is being born.
He's being born.
You are watching a Ouija being born live. Look at this.
Good. His fupa's full. That's the important part. It's still got a little bit of wet latex here. No, it's dry. Cool.
Wow, look at that.
There we go. Now, on a lot of, when you have a lot more time and resources, we would have split these arms into separate molds, the legs into separate molds, but that's a whole lot of work. So we went with two-piece mold for the whole body and then molded the head separate. Right. Next thing we're going to do, pull this tube out. And that tube is what gives us a space to put our arm in there.
There you go.
It's for when we puppeteer him. We just have to cut a hole here. But
that's a new creature.
we call him Neck Finger.
Finger Man.
But so then the insides are still a little damp, so we're gonna put him on the drying rack right here. This is our custom swivel drying rack for. We have to trim up all the seams now, as you can see, like trim up all the excess garbage. And then if you can see, like these guys, they're just foam. They're noodles, right? They have no muscles or anything, so we have to put bars in his arm so it only bends right where we want it to, because like this guy will just bend, so we put bars so he bends at the elbow there, and then up here at the shoulder, and that's how we'll make him move.
So on this really cool little body here, I think the audience in live streaming land, everybody, particularly people from the Full Moon universe, are probably asking one question that I want to ask Tom, and that is, where is its ding dong? Like, where is its?
Well,
it's
his ding dong.
He has no
It's back here.
Under reaching.
Yeah, no, he's just got a big fupa here, so it's up here.
Oh, so it's like
Yeah,
it can kind of come out.
It's hidden. Now, if he was excited,
Yeah,
you might see maybe a wrap up around, or
I was thinking like a garden hose. You could like
just unwheel
pull
it.
out. Yeah, you could unwheel it. Or something.
But maybe in
Or like a
in
helmet
Ouija
on top
land,
of-
maybe the reason these little pissed off
'Cause-
monsters are so pissed off
Yeah.
is they've been castrized.
They've been castrized.
Yeah, like when you get sucked
So-
into the Ouija board and become one of these little fellas, it keeps elements of your past character. We see that in all of our characters, but maybe
That's
it
true.
takes away elements of your past.
Well, he
character.
could have a little Velcro or
Yeah.
something on there, and he also has these little like.
Oh
he
yeah,
has
little,
these little like
flooby moves.
little man,
Yeah,
little man
movies.
boobs on here. Now, Tom, when you actually paint this, Tom's gonna put. I'll let you explain, but this is gonna
So,
have paint and fur.
The
and-
cool thing with these bodies, very much in the vein of ghoulies, in ghoulies, the cat ghoulie, rat ghoulie, and bat ghoulie are all the same body. Those three bodies, one they added the wings to, they all have slightly different hands. One does have a ding dong. I think it's the cat ghoulie has a little nuts and ding dong. But so what we will do is this is going to play for Motor Breath, and it's going to also play for Gravestoned. As Gravestoned, it's going to be naked like this, painted up. This is a Gravestone head right here, and that will basically go up there. But then when it's Motor Breath, it's going to have hair, like sparse hair. It's going to be painted different flesh tone than Gravestoned. It's going to have costume elements like a little leather jacket, and we talked about the cod piece.
He's going to have. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what a cod piece is, as some people can look back in history and know what it is, but the Rockstar cod piece, you have that big old.
It's almost like a cup.
It's like a big old like jockstrap cup that a
But
lot
with
of
spikes
80s
or-
metal
yeah.
rockers wore. So the Motor Breath Ouija will have this big old cod piece to hide his magic, his garden hose. Wiener.
So we will use the same bodies, but they will look entirely different. That's why they have no hands. They'll have different hands.
Well, can you show the audience how his head moves, like how these things are going to be puppeted?
Yeah. So basically, your arm goes through here, and part of the reason of that fupa is you can hide my body a lot. If I'm wearing a black sleeve, you won't see. And then he'll have a head on him like this. He'll have a neck piece too, so you won't see my hand, but he'll be able to.
Be like,
rah, 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 rah.
tell Danny Draven a bedtime story.
Go to hell.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Right.
I mean, these guys they'll be really,
Never mind.
we'll be able to manipulate their arms. Their legs will most likely be glued down to things as they're standing, and they can hunch and move. And we are talking about doing some moving shots where we put them on either skateboards or remote control elements where we can get them to go down.
Yeah,
and
we
also
wanna-
over the shoulder stuff where the camera's behind them and they're just.
Right.
But yeah, we will definitely show up
Painted. Right.
painted hair.
And his eyes. His
Yeah.
eyes are animatronic eyes.
Yeah, so we
They're
have a lot of
radio
space,
controlled,
of
so.
space back here where we'll build out the underskull, and we will stick animatronic eyes in there, which are servo controlled and pretty simple but effective.
I mean, this stuff is really like. I mean,
It's
I
true,
gotta say,
true movie puppet.
this is
I mean,
really like movie making puppetry here. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I, as a filmmaker, have been wanting to do for a very long time. This classic stuff, and I know Tom as well. So this is a lot of fun for us to be able to go back. I don't know, what is it, 30, 40 years or whatever it is, and create something like this. And you got to remember, this is only one creature. This movie has 4 creatures in it. We're talking about. I mean, and this guy's what, like 22? He's about 22 inches high, and he's got a really big girth to him. But we're talking about 4 of these guys.
And we have Goblin, who's going to be a female, obviously, and she's a little bit more serpentish. And
very serpent.
So we're working out some details with the tail and stuff that are going to be really cool. Her face is also going to be animated eyes, hand puppeteered. But she has a much smaller body, so we have to be sneakier about how we get our arm in there.
Right.
And then
and we have Motor Breath. Well, we have Weewolf, but Motor Breath, which we're going to actually pull out of the mold here. Actually, for the first time, I haven't even seen it, so Tom's going to pull it out live for you guys.
Yeah.
But while we're on the topic of Weed Wolf, of all of our 4 Ouijas, three of them are like this, the hand puppets, like what you said. The weed wolf itself is actually a person inside of an actual suit. Now, maybe I'll let Tom tell you a little bit more how that works.
Yeah, so we have a small actor. We've worked with him. I've worked with him a lot. He's super talented. He does a lot of creature performance. He's a motion capture guy. He can move really well, and he's very short. So with him hunched over as the weed wolf, he'll almost match our little guys. He'll be a little bit bigger, but he'll still, oddly enough, look like one of these little monsters. So we're building out a mechanical head on him, and the way that we do that is we make a fiberglass underskull that fits his face absolutely perfect. It's made on his head cast. And then from that fiberglass underskull, we sculpt the weed wolf face, much like American Werewolf in London or The Howling. Yeah. When you have a werewolf with a snout, you can't just put a snout. It won't move. It'll flop over. It'll be weak. So we have to have the fiberglass under there. And when he opens his mouth, it opens a lever that will to make him chomp and growl, and he'll have dog teeth the whole way, the tongue. Yeah. And then we're mounting the servo-controlled eyes up above his face. So he's wearing a helmet, but his makeup will be out here. Right. And then gloves. And the reason for that, Tom, when we talked about Weed Wolf originally, was my concern with having a live person in an outfit was their eyes wouldn't match the other ghoulie eyes, and he's a ghoulie, so his eyes will actually be animatronic or servo controlled on radio as well. And this guy, he's all over the place. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, even though we're streaming live. But he's running. He's on a little bike. But what it allows us to do too is, and we saw this in Ghoulies too with Beaklers. When the ghoulie puppets are on camera, a lot of times they're standing on crates. They're bending over. They're attacking people. But when they're running around, it's a guy in a suit. With us having one full character in a suit to run around the hotel, it makes it tricks your brain to thinking they're all running around. Right. And also, like in Ghoulies 2, you have the giant ghoulie that comes out, fish ghoulie, and he walks and moves, and it helps bridge that gap between real puppet and real movement.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So having one of them, we thought at one time we talked about.
One time we were all four of them. We're actually going to be live people, but then we decided that it would be better to do it this way.
Yeah, I think this is fun. This is a little bit more of a throwback.
Right.
A little bit more of a life goal.
Yeah.
And
life goal for sure. Life goals are okay. So now we're gonna motor. Okay, let me just explain motor breath to you. Okay, motor breath is a metal ghoulie who plays essentially a metal guitar. I mean, just think of like all your just think of like maybe I don't know, Wasp or Dawkins or one of those amazing bands that I love.
Yeah.
Church.
No, I mean, I'm really into hair bands and metal, and obviously Shane, who wrote the script, between you two, ended up with the name Motor Breath.
Motor Breath.
And that's clearly derived from Motorhead.
Motorhead.
So we have a little bit of Lemmy in there, and then Charlie, based on the fact that these are so Ghoulies-ish, and we're kind of giving our throwback to John Beekler, who recently passed, he suggested throw in some Beekler characters into there. So he's not hard for me because my style is very Beekler-y, and all of his characters look like himself. Yeah. So I added a little bit of Beekler to it, a little bit of Lemmy to it. Yeah. We're going to give like an Axl Rose type.
Yeah, he's going to have an Axl Rose bandana.
Alice Cooper codpiece.
He's got handlebar mustache. Yeah. He's got a big old codpiece covering his junk.
So we're going to, it's very
metal guitar.
Amalgamation of heavy metal.
Right. And for those of you who watched the last vidcast, I'm sorry, not the vidcast, but the last live casting session, or if you want to go back and watch the casting session, which is on the website, deadly10.com, you will actually see the two metal guys who I cast with Charlie, who Motor Breath kills in the movie. It's like metal. So you can check that out as well. So here we go.
This is our mold for the heads, and each character gets their own head mold, and we can make as many as we need. We need about 3 to 4 of each character, and this is poured up with just latex right now. So I'm gonna just powder it, a little bit of baby powder, and sometimes they come out perfect, sometimes they come out with imperfections, and we have to fix them. It's not, it's all par.
Was that baby powder?
Yeah. I tell a lot of my
I got a little rash.
I tell a lot of my effects artists that we spend I'd say 30% of the time creating stuff and 75% of the time fixing it. So this is a little soft actually, so we'll see how this goes.
Yes, this is Motor Breath being born live at Deadlyton.
And Danny hasn't seen any pictures, concepts, nothing.
I have not seen this guy yet, so you will see with me for the first time.
Got a little bit of clay on him, but that'll all clean off. Cool. So he gets a little bit inside out. We gotta turn his inside out bits right side in. There's our motor breath.
All right, let's come over here. And I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him yet, so I'm gonna close my eyes and be amazed. Actually, I'll let you guys look at him before I do.
So this is motor breath here.
Hey, I'm Motor Breath.
Let's see.
There he is.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So he's got a little bit of that Lemmy look.
He's got the handlebar mustache like we were talking about here.
And it's sculpted here, but it will have hair laid over top of it. That's just so the hair stays where you want it. I gave his ears a little bit of a downward troll look because in the Beekler thing, you know.
And you got to make room for the bandana.
Yeah, he's gonna have the bandana on top, and then hair comes out the top of his head and over the bandana.
A little long hair.
So
a little long hair, the bandana.
He will.
I like the down hairs on him.
Yeah, just to change it up so they don't all have the exact same ears. Although the pointy ears is a Ouija trait.
And you guys can, when you imagine like clothing wise on him, I mean,
he's got a leather vest.
He's got leather vest. He's metaled out spikes. The Axl Rose bandana, everything. It's actually really rad. And he plays one of those classic like
80s
metal
flying
V guitars.
Yeah.
And
so you can see like I have some holes here. I just have to fix those. This part of his ear is actually inside, not outside. Sorry. So I have like holes here that I'll have to fix. His teeth will have to get refined. There's still some clay in his Lemmy mole, but that's just a little bit of patching and repair work. We work so fast. We sculpted this and molded it last night, cleaned the mold out, had to pour it up, and just wanted to have something to show the live audience. So like,
I'm Motor Man, let's freaking rock!
and he's gonna headbang. So you got to imagine him on this body, and he gets headbanging. He's playing guitar. Yeah. People are dying. Blood is flying.
It'll be pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I don't think we've never seen. I don't think unless I'm mistaken, I've never seen a metal ghoulie. Have you ever seen a metal?
No. Have you ever seen a metal ghoulie?
Have you ever seen a metal ghoulie? No.
The hotel we're shooting in, we can't get blood everywhere. It's not. We're just not allowed. So we make stuff like these little pads that we can paint red, and then you can put them on the floor, and you've got an instant puddle of blood.
Instant puddle of blood.
And some blood spatter. Once those are painted red. And it just. We also make a lot of like rubber gut pieces, and this is for any of the death stuff, and it'll be painted red, so we don't have to do so much stage blood that we get it on their beds and their walls, and but whenever there's like somebody getting their neck bitten out, it's like
exactly.
We'll have
weed wolf
we'll have all that good stretchy fun.
See, it's tough as a filmmaker when you're shooting in a location, and they say, and we're literally making a horror picture with creatures who kill people.
Yeah.
And they say, oh yeah, you can't splatter any blood anywhere. Well, anybody that knows my background and Tom's background,
that's what we do.
That's kind of what we do. We splatter blood a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been to places where we'll knock, we'll put our hands through doors and leave the place a mess. But we're not doing that on this one. But at this one, we got to be very careful of how we spray blood. And Tom came up with this really great idea with this pool of blood, and you also with these guys, you got to remember they do blink as well. So there's a blinking element to their eyes, which they're already incredibly lifelike. I mean, even in this state, standing next to them, they're incredibly lifelike. But with the servo eyes, combined with the blinking.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a digital
it's-
blink that'll be put in
Yeah,
post, but
it's very
man,
cool.
it brings them to life.
It
really-
brings them to life.
Just that random,
And-
like you turn ahead and it's blink. You know, it's pretty awesome.
And we're going to try to give them some movement. Where Tom and I were talking before this a little bit about moving these guys around. You know, we were talking about possibly. You want to explain
Yeah,
a little bit?
we had
briefly,
talked
like,
about the way that their stance is. You know, we can do over the shoulder stuff where you puppeteer them, you know, as you're behind them. But we could also mount them onto like a remote control tank, like a flat tank that even has a board on top of it, and be able to kind of cruise them around the hallways and give a little wiggle to their arms, even if it's monofilament or whatever it is, to help them like look alive while they're, you know, under the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Camera's following them and we're kind of shooting them around the hallways or the bedrooms or and then, you know, we were talking about with Goblin, we have to make her float at one point.
Yes,
You know, so we're gonna have her up on rods, and then we'll have to like basically puppeteer her tail as like a kite, kind of, as she's up on a rod. And so it'll take a couple people, but keeping these rubber dummies moving is the key. I mean, if they're standing there, they can't just be plop. They have to be breathing. You know, they have to be, you know, scratch their nuts.
And it's not
whatever it is.
it's not always just the effects moment of this too. When you're shooting with these guys, the lighting has a significant influence on how they do. And I mean, it's a lot of things. You know, but of course it starts with these guys. But you know, these guys wreaking havoc at that hotel is just it's gonna be wild fun ride. I mean, actually, I think originally we had like six of them, and we had
to cut it down.
We had about 6 of these guys, and I ended up cutting it down to 4. And one I think was a combination. We combined one into one ghoulie, but I keep calling them ghoulies. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're Ouija's, not ghoulies.
Well, they're
close.
like the Care Bear cousins.
They're
the cousins of ghoulies.
They're the cousins.
You know? There's Ouija's and ghoulies.
In the same.
They're a little bit more high
same
than ghoulies are a little more evil.
Right,
You know, maybe
right.
that's the difference.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, they're in the vein of, you know.
There is a moment too where we, you know, one of these guys, and we'll see when we make the film, but where there's a pool scene in the movie, and I'm hoping that we're going to do some little bit of underwater photography.
Oh, that'd be great.
If I wasn't directing, I would just do it myself and just jump in the damn pool with my camera and do it myself. But since I have to probably shoot a lot of pages after that, I won't be able to do that. But I'm talking about, you know, getting some underwater photography with one of these guys, and maybe, you know, getting them in the pool and swimming around and submerging them. And Goblin is still in the creation stage, but she's a little bit more complex with her snake-like, you know, serpentine type features and everything. She's our one sort of very feminine ghoulie who I think we're all really looking for.
She's like the Greta Gremlin of the bunch.
The Greta Gremlin of the bunch. We talked a little bit about Motor Breath's clothing being all metaled out and everything. Now, Gravestone, he's a little bit more.
He's naked.
He's naked.
And same thing with
bubbly and.
Same thing with Goblin.
Goblin, she's more like a snake body, a little more.
And
naked.
then Weed Wolf has clothes.
Weed Wolf has like a Hawaiian shirt and.
It's a little more 70s Paisley because he's a hippie guy.
He's a hippie guy, right?
But Courtney, our costume designer, made a beautiful outfit for him.
Okay, great.
From scratch.
Right.
It's awesome.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah.
And no. I mean, other than that, you know, everybody's pretty much got these little claws.
Yeah.
On the hands.
And they'll be the hands will be a little bit different for each. The claws will, I mean, their feet will be the same, except for Motor Breath has like hairier feet, and then.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, as far as besides how lifelike they are now, one of the things I was telling Tom early on was I really wanted these guys to have a shine to them, like sort of a sweat about them, to really add even more to the lifelike character. And Tom's, how are we going to accomplish that, like on set?
You know, on set, when you're working with rubber monsters, it's almost a mandatory element to KY jelly, though. So we'll take KY jelly and we smear it all over the latex, and it just brings them alive. It gives them that sweaty sheen. They don't have to be goopy and slimy. They
just a sheen to them. And the light reflects.
What I do too is I'll spray them down with like a clear coat material that gives them that gloss already. But when the KY's on it, it beads up a little bit and gives them that. It looks like they're sweating.
Yeah. I think it's good to show.
It's that's
how,
pretty cool.
because it is important, because we are creating
A species.
we're creating essentially a species of creatures from scratch, because this is a brand new full moon universe franchise, planet. I mean, we have a Ouija board that these things come out of, and we have a ganja ghost, which we should talk about in a second. But you can just see how these guys, look, like from part of the same species. Now, ganja ghost, I should talk about just for one moment, and he is. I think we showed him in one of the vidcasts, but he essentially is the board host.
Keeper. He's like the crypt keeper.
He's like
of
the
the
crypt
bunch,
keeper of this board, and he comes out and he's funny and he's got one-liners, and he talks like this. He talks like a Rastafarian Yoda, so it adds some of the comedic element. But
and he clearly was a Ouija at some point. He has the same pointy ears.
And again, going back to creating one species of characters that universe stays in.
So we casted a ganja ghost, and I had preliminarily started a sculpture of ganja ghost just to get ahead of things. And as I predicted when you were here last, it's like, well, we casted a guy. He doesn't fit the life cast at all that I sculpted on, so I will transfer over to something that's more akin to his shape and size.
Yes.
And also, based on his talents and where he uses his strong parts of his focus, I will make sure that it moves really good with the brows, and his eyes are super prominent.
Yes.
Now, in the concept art, he
looked like
he wears sunglasses.
John Lennon or something. Yeah.
He has sunglasses, and that was the one reason I had never really worried myself about the animated eyeballs.
Right.
Now with him, we may think about contact lenses.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, and for all of you who want to actually see the gentleman that we cast for Ganja Ghost, again, go to the website and look at the casting video. And in the casting video, you'll see who we cast as Ganja Ghost. And now that we have cast him, that's where this conversation comes in. Where Tom, originally I thought Tom would have to cast his head, but he actually
I have a head that'll match.
We'll
be able to do it.
But after I saw him do the performance, we're altering the makeup a little bit to reflect more of his expressive eyes and his jaw movements and everything, because essentially Ganja Ghost, he's a head. He's just a head, like a floating head, like something
like Jambi.
Like Jambi from the Pee Wee Herman deal. But he's kind of shoulders up, and the whole thing. So he has to be very expressive. So and that's one of the other characters that we're sort of readjusting for.
Yeah. So that'll be, we got 2 weeks to finish all this stuff up.
We're shooting in
tons of
2
time.
weeks.
Tons of time.
All this time and everything, but so if you want to see more of the people that we actually cast in these parts, all the leads and everything, you really should check out that little casting video. It's a lot of fun, and how that ties in. So that's where we're at here with the Ouijas, and I think the next time you see these guys, there's a lot more to show.
Yeah.